What's going on, y'all? It's Brian.
Hey, Coach Mo.
With the Coaches Corner Podcast. It's been a while. On today's episode, we're going to sit here and chop it up about what we have coming up for this year, talk about some observations from, the beginning of AAU season, and maybe leave you with some tips to help structure your workouts at home. I think that's all we got, right, Coach Mo?
That's it, man.
All right.
Welcome back.
Yep. So that's what we have on today's episode. We'll get to you after the intro. Peace.
Peace.
All right, and we're back. So, Coach Mo, it's been a while since we've done this. We've had a lot of things actually really going on, a lot of really good things, a lot of positive growth, but it's been super action-packed and busy. Oh, yeah. And so what are some of the things that, aside from our announcements, what are some things that you're working on that the crowd may not know about?
Wow. Behind scenes, our basketball academy has really grown, and we will speak out of more of why that's happening and more of that service. Basketball academy is where we see these kids 2 times a week, about an hour and a half for 2 of those days, and we really do a lot of skill training. Why I think that's grown is I think the reality starts setting in for kids when they start trying out for teams that are outside of select teams. Right. We're talking about school teams, and they try out for these teams, and they have layup drills, they have mid-range, they do rebounding, so they do all the basics. And coaches will even tell you, that sets them apart. That I see a kid that made his first 3 layups, and he got back in line and hustled. So I think that's been a pretty big thing for us lately. Also, I see the increase of the need for speed and agility training. And I don't know if people really understand that until it's too late. A lot of time is when look at speed agility, and you can go on YouTube and those things. And I'm not saying all those things are not good tools and those things are, but you got to be very careful to jump in and use some of that stuff when you're not monitored using those things. For example, if I look up how to get faster, and I'm gonna see 20 different ways on YouTube. Right. I don't have anybody monitoring what I'm doing the next time if I'm alone. So you got to take that as kind of a basis where you're like, okay, let me look at it. I kind of like how it's set up and then kind of go from there. But if you're taking it as I'm going to apply this 100%, I'd be very, very careful with that, especially when there's things local. So we've had an increase of kids coming back. I don't care if they're soccer, basketball, baseball. I work on the basics part of it. Speed and agility isn't just running fast. I think people look at that too, what do you do in that thing? Oh, it's a lot. It's running proper. It's landing proper. It's jumping the proper way. You're trying to reduce injury and maximize your potential to be a better athlete when you're doing speed and agility. So there's balance parts of it. My kids actually participate in it, and I've seen a difference in, I think, with your son and in mine, balance. Right. And balance is huge because if I can't sit down correctly and play defense in basketball and I'm falling over, I'm never going to be a great defender. And so I think people get caught up into those classes may not work for me because we're just working on just running fast on a straight line. That's probably the least thing we do. The least thing we do. It's all that. So we're getting a lot of kids from different areas that really want to invest in that. And honestly, I have some of my Division I college guys back here. We're going 3-4 days a week. They just called me last week because even at that level, they said, we're not even taught that. We don't have a person that's teaching us that stuff. Right. And that's a Division I, coming from Division I players. So why would it work for your 3rd grader? Right.
Well, and I think the thing is, I always call it the disinformation unit. There's a disinformation unit out there on social media. And a lot of times it's people putting out stuff that sounds good. Yeah. Sounds good to them. But they don't really have any deliberate experience training or teaching anybody it. They don't have any hands-on application of it. We're not saying that you have to be, a complete athlete yourself, because sometimes even athletes still don't understand nuances of it unless they have some kind of specialized training. So there's a disinformation unit full of people that want your views. They want you to look at their stuff, but it's not vetted. So I've seen people, specifically at the gym have absolutely no business doing box jumps. Like,
Right.
and it doesn't even align with what their goals are. Are you actually trying to jump higher? Because these are things, the explosive kind of movements and stuff. There are other things in the gym that you can get that explosive kind of stuff from. And you doing unsupervised box jumps is a quick ticket to injury if you don't have a professional helping you out.
I've seen adults in the gym get hurt.
Yeah.
Like doing stuff like that. I'm 44.
Right.
Too, and like my body's different from 34.
Right.
And so there's things I'm not going to do. And there's things I don't want a seventh grader doing over at third grade. Like there's certain things that we gradually have to build up to certain things. And then, age does kick in, and we're not saying that you can't do certain things, but some things don't make a whole lot of sense,
Here's the breakdown, so I don't get myself in too much trouble. I'll defer to you as the coach and everything, but in my experience lifting, are you going to be doing anything where you're going to be jumping a lot?
Right. And what I've looked at is, when we have our groups and the parents are saying, the kids are saying, none of our workouts are the same, and nothing should be cookie cutter.
Right.
Like, so if a kid comes to me, I've had multiple hip injuries, I'm new to this, the last thing I'm going to do is put them, hey, you try to prove to me you're going to jump with the highest jumping box, and if you don't clear it, it means you're a failure. No,
right.
There has to be something different for that kid. They can get work in, but we can't have a cookie cutter plan for every single, every kid that comes in there. Because first of all, we may be addressing something that the kid doesn't even need.
Right.
They don't even need. There's kids, we had kids who grew up, me and Brian are North Carolina kids. Man, we had some kids that could flat out run.
Right.
I mean, to get on the track, not stretch, get out and run a 4.240, not run. They had no one taught them anything. They just had it. But when they got to higher levels, somebody might have, hey, you're losing races because now you're not balanced. You can be faster there. But so I'm not teaching that kid to go faster. I'm teaching that kid better technique to maintain that. Or less an injury. Hey, I know you're fast, but let's start off with some dynamic stretching so you can not pull your muscle. And when you're done with the event, let's go some static stretching so you can cool down.
Right.
Oh, okay, cool, thanks. Because injuries, that kid will be less fast. So can't be cookie cutter.
Well, and one of the things, I was working on my strength certification. I know, like, if you got an athlete that needs explosiveness in their movements, in the weights, I'm going to be looking at a couple of those Olympic lifts. Explosiveness is that vertical jump. That's the display. You're displaying explosiveness with that. If you're not explosive, your vertical jump isn't going to be as much. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a super high vertical to play sports, but it does display some more explosiveness, and it's one of the factors that go into specific sports when they're recruiting for specific sports and things like that. And so we would be sitting down looking at, okay, do you want to do some cleans, things along those lines, make sure everything's monitored and things like that. But, I do cleans at the gym just because I've always done cleans at the gym, but they aren't for everybody. People who normally wouldn't be doing these Olympic style lifts, doing them for high reps. Right. And that's not what you're not doing Olympic style lifts. You might do them for explosiveness, but you're not doing it for a rep count. You're not doing it like, dude, give me 15 hand cleans or, cleans. What is that for? And so it's understanding the scope of work and scope of athlete you're working with and training. And that's why we're saying the disinformation component that's out there, you can find good information, you can find bad information. You need to vet that information through somebody who knows what they're talking about. And that's what we're here for. Speed and agility is one of our signature services. Right. Basketball Academy, we talk about a lot. We talking about it a lot, but speed and agility is a boutique kind of service. And so, Coach Mo has some expertise in it. People think that you can go and learn, you can go to YouTube and just learn all this stuff. And YouTube will have you jumping on plyo boxes. I know you had kids that have trained with other people and injured themselves. I literally carried somebody out of the gym who had no business being jumping on a plyo box, especially when already a little bit injured. and, set themselves back by months.
Right.
Because you start messing around with your knees, especially as you get close to our age.
Right.
You start doing stuff wrong with your knees. A lot of things can go wrong.
Well, it kind of ties into everything, right? It ties into the misconception that, okay, this guy ran track.
Right.
And so this is another where I had to jump a little bit in this. Oh, I know a guy, I met him at the gym. He ran track in high school, so I'm pretty sure, and he's kind of a thin guy, and he's fast, and I'm pretty sure he can teach you to be fast. Okay. Okay. Did he go to school for it?
Right.
Well, no, but he was fast in 1997. That's great. So did you know your specific background, your injuries, your goals as a soccer player?
Right.
Well, he just was going to get me faster. Okay, but you play soccer, okay? Yeah. And you can get fast, but he's about the lateral speed you need in soccer and how to build up those muscles and proper stretching. Well, no, but he looked the part.
Right.
Okay? And so we got to get out of that misconception. We get that a lot with basketball, like a lot of great coaches here. And I shout them out, a lot of great coaches here. But, I don't really bite my tongue when it's bad coaching or kids get hurt. Every tall guy can't coach basketball. It is. Every guy that could dribble and played down at the park and we talk about it all the time. Like, man, that guy was the coldest guy at Omaha, blah, blah. Who did he play for? Did he go on to train anybody, or what are you talking about? Because right now I have a second grader that's learning how to dribble, and I don't know if that person can do it. So it's not about, it's got to be who knows this, who's around this, who's studied, who's went to school, who's worked in this, we're trying to help you be a better overall athlete.
Well, so here's the way I can break it down. So let's say your child is struggling with math. You're looking for a math tutor, and you bring in a couple of math tutors. You're interviewing them, of course, because you do want to know a little bit about the people that work with your kids, whether you're just observing or you're asking direct questions. And so, in the course of interviewing, you got Mr. Guy. He has the glasses on. He looks the part. Looks like he knows his stuff. Sits down in front of you and you say, "Okay, so you want to you want to tutor my kid in math?" Yeah. What qualifies you to tutor my kid in math? Well, so like in 11th grade, I was in algebra 3. Do you have any kind of degree or anything? No. Any experience like helping people in college? Any natural aptitude that I can point to? No, man, I was just in 11th grade. I took algebra 3, man. They almost had me in trigonometry.
Congratulations.
So when do I start? Right. I guess it's the concept of you have familiarity with it, and you probably could teach them a few things that they didn't know about it. Right. But are you the person that's going to tutor them to get into, the advanced classes and all that other stuff? No, you're not, because your level of expertise is limited by how far you went. You didn't pursue it anymore. Now, if you said, I was in advanced math all my life, all the way up, and then I went to college for it, and X, Y, and Z happened. I didn't finish out college, but I made the side income tutoring math students because I had that. Okay, there's a story behind it. There's some advanced knowledge, but yeah, man, I took algebra in high school. Well, a lot of the parents have done that.
Right.
That's their level of knowledge too. And so you're in that mode where you're literally competing, and you're like, well, you don't really have much advanced knowledge outside. You're not that far ahead of where my kid is.
Right.
And there's a lot of trainers and stuff. And we're not just talking about physical trainers. I do marketing for small businesses. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people out there, whether it's about entrepreneurship or marketing, that do not have the foggiest idea what they're talking about, what things they're recommending, strategies and all that other stuff. They have no concept of it because they've never done it before. So they really don't know. And so there's a lot out there about that. And you need a sounding board to kind of filter that information through.
Right. And one thing helps with just beyond that, our basketball academy, speed agility, anything that we've done, because this is a CMA podcast, what we've done is we've researched it, or we've tried it, and we've seen if it worked. And we've seen if it worked. So we either learned the hard way, we learned, we learn different ways, But also what we try to do is keep it focused on the client.
Right.
It's not about me. And it's not about you. So one thing you'll look at if you go look at our website and there's a description of what I do and stuff like that too. But one thing you also don't see is a bunch of pictures of me and a bunch of pictures of Brian and us just tooting our own horn of all the accomplishments we've ever did in our entire life. Because a parent that has a first grader who's never played basketball, they may want to know a little bit about that we might have played or might not do, but they're literally like looking like, I want my kid to dribble.
Right.
Or I want my kid to pass. Okay. So it's not about having these 40 different things. And so we're trying to make it where you come to one of our services, you know what's going to go down. You know what's going to go down. We put the kid first. You tell me your story about the kid. Yep, he might go with kids his age, but if he's struggling a little bit, we're going to make sure they're caught up a little bit first there. And a lot of it with the training partner, we have a lot of good partners in training. Right. Here locally, we have the partners is a lot of it is you got to watch for the pride of other people. And the pride of other people is, I'm going to do it my way because I just want to do something different from you. No rhyme or reason. Right. Prime example, I have kids that come to everything. We have kids that come to everything, speed, agility, the other stuff. They do one-on-ones. They go to their school stuff. Good. We want them to do everything. But then I have kids that, hey, I can't come this night now because my other team's going to start doing some training. And I'm like, and that always gives me, it always makes me jump like, what kind of training? Right. Whatever they do speed and agility training. He knows how to do it. My coach was fast. He played in school. And I'm like, and I'm always leery of that. I'm not leery of, train who you want to train with. Right. But as a parent, I want to make sure that if my kid is training, that I'm there. And I want to see what you mean by training. Right. If it's running around, jumping off of a bunch of boxes, and there's like 50 kids and no one's monitoring, that's dangerous. Right. And I've seen that. I've actually watched on Instagram and YouTube, like even locally here, I'm like, oh no, like this is going to be bad. Where we're like, hey, the concept tonight is when you come to, our basketball academies, you're going to do skill work. We're not going to have full court 5-on-5 games that are out of control with you. Like, it is skill work. So if you want to do that, go to the community center, go to the park. We're going to make sure that when you're on the court, you're getting better. You're safer on the court. You're getting yourself ready for your tryout. You're getting yourself ready to help your select team out. Right. You're becoming a better overall athlete, not running around just throwing the ball up and just going to random training just because,
Well, I guess, and that circle back to what I wanted to move on to the next topic is. So we talked about, being very cognizant of where you're getting your information. And so that we'll use this to wrap up the first section of this podcast. So being aware of that stuff, what are some things that a parent can do to create the right training environment for their kid? Like setting down expectations, even, some simple skill work kind of stuff that they can do. And we'll talk specifically, since we do have a big event coming up regarding basketball and dribbling and stuff. Let's talk about specifically for dribbling, but you can apply this to pretty much any kind of training that you're going to do at home and monitor and supervise. So what are some things a parent can do to set the right environment?
Okay, some of the things is we talked about this years ago. So we're 8 years in, like, congratulations. 8 years in. We talk to your kid, like, what is your kid's goals? Like, we can have so I played sports, and I think every kid, we all watch, your team has won a couple NBA championships. Mine won way back in the 70s. I don't know, whatever. But you watch it, you're like, oh man, this is the greatest feeling ever. And I think being a realistic as a parent, you're like, I do want to see my kid on that stage one time. But then you got to look at your kid and say, do they ever want to be on that stage one time? Maybe for them, this is a social thing. And they just want to be just good enough to make the 7th grade team and be with their friends. So you're not going to convince that kid, all right, now we're going to have 4 more extra days of training and we're going to have, some weights and all. They're going to be like, I didn't sign up for this. Right. And I don't want to do this. Now, you have to talk to them. So setting that kid up is like, you know what? We'll do some basic drills at home. We'll do some dribbling stuff. I'll talk to your coach about what the trials look like, because coaches are very open in middle school. And they're like, hey, you'll have to do X amount of running, layups, whatever. Hey, your coach gave me this. We're going to do this every day until tryouts. You made the team. You did great, But then it's the other part of it is not allowing your kid, if you have a kid that has the potential and says, I do want to go to that level, it's not giving them a pass. Giving them a pass. Don't give them a pass. If they really want to get that extra work and they're kind of sitting around the house, don't give them a pass. If you don't know what you're doing as a trainer, I'm not saying everybody, I'm the best trainer in the world. I'm one of them, but I'm not the best trainer in the world. But I'm saying park down the street, kid has a basketball. What you can do is start them off by going to the park and letting them shoot. And you can watch them rebound for them, pass the ball for them. That's basic stuff right there too. And do it multiple days a week. You don't have to be a trainer for that. You get the ball and throw it to their hand. And I think a lot of parents make it way too difficult. Like, well, I couldn't drive him out to this place that's an hour away and get him on a shooting machine. I'm like, he's in fourth grade. I don't know what a shooting machine is going to do in fourth grade because they aren't even strong enough to shoot threes a lot of times. And if they are, it's not a pretty three. It's not a pretty three. They're twisting their body. There's chances for injury. The form is bad. Why have them on a shooting machine shooting threes at fourth grade? Have them outside just shooting at a rim,
And a lot of it, this popped in my head. A lot of times we hear these old school Superman stories from old pros, that some anecdotal thing that they said in an interview in 1987. You're like, hey man, Pistol Pete's dad. Listen, you're not Pistol Pete. You're not his dad. He put the kids in the car and had them dribble with their left hand and their right hand. Well, okay, that works because Pistol Pete already had a handle.
Yes.
And that added to the handle that he already had. You're trying to do this with a third grader. You got to be realistic here, y'all.
Right.
And so, have realistic expectations of what your kid is going to be able to do. And like Coach Mo said, keep it simple. Yeah. Don't add all these unnecessary layers to make it more and more complex before the kid's ready. Now, as you get better, as your skill goes up, the drills get more complex. But that's just a natural function of things. You still have to have a mastery of the basics. So, you have your basic foundation of knowledge. As you learn more, it gets more complex, but you still have your basic foundation of knowledge.
Right.
You're trying to do all these specialized drills that you don't heard some NBA guy or something lie about in the podcast or lie about in the interview. No, man, he used to grab the top of the backboard.
Oh God,
boy. He was 5'2", but he used to jump up and grab the top of the backboard. You're lying, right? That's a bald-faced lie. And so,
well, you just said, and that's a great point. Like, you're setting up a kid for these unrealistic things, and it's like you can't do that in fourth grade.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that person didn't do that in fourth grade, And I've had kids, I have kids that went to other teams. I'm never in my feelings about if you got to go. It's like a bad marriage, right? Like, if they don't come home for 3 days, they probably don't like you. And it's probably over, right? So, I got to go to the other team. Sweet. All I ask is it a good fit for you and all this?
Right.
Well, no, the guy said go there and we get colorful shoes and there's specialized training. Sweet. Have fun.
Right.
Have fun. I'll never be that person. But what end up happening, those kids end up coming back, or the parents end up coming back like, I didn't know what I was getting into. And I'm like, you didn't know what you were getting into because there wasn't a clear instruction on what you wanted for that kid. And the coach didn't. So you got to be very careful with that. The other part you got to be careful of is if you do have a good coach, and you do have a good team, a solid team, make sure that you're talking to the coach about that stuff.
So keeping those expectations realistic for the kid. Yep. It is a huge piece of this thing. And it's important because a lot of times it allows you to structure the training that you're doing at home more in line with the kid's natural progression. like I said, the Superman stories about X player used to do this, was it the one I heard, the biggest, I'm trying to think of the biggest lie that I've heard in the last 8 months. The Wilt, was it bench pressing like 600 pounds?
Unbelievable.
Which I know that's world class. That's strongman, world class. You're in a suit and wraps with the weird lift where you're arched and you don't really have much of a range of motion, and the lift goes like
right,
and then that's back up. That's that level of strength,
right.
And to say that, a guy with that's structured with super long arms, it's harder for taller people to really get into those super high bench presses.
Right.
That's the biggest lie I've ever heard. And if you're building your training upon that lie, you're going to hurt your kid. So I'm being realistic about it. When we're talking about tailoring the work you do at home, if you don't have a huge I don't have a huge basketball coaching background and everything. I know what I know. I know a lot from talking to Mo on a daily basis and marketing a basketball academy. But I'm still going to keep it simple. Kid take a shot, rebound it, pass it back to him.
Yep.
That's the extent of it.
Yep.
And so it's keeping it realistic when you're training at home.
Well, the realest thing that you could ever see is go to a high-level AAU tournament. A high level, not a low level. Right?
Right.
You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. If your kid's going out there and he scores 60 points on a team, you're not playing the highest level. No matter how good that kid is, something's wrong with that. And he does it consistently, you're probably not in the top division. So I've been traveling the last 3 weeks for AAU. This is a great point for AAU basketball. And my son plays for Nebraska Hoops Elite. And so shout out to Greg and Coach Chris and all of them down there. So we play at the highest, we're in the highest level. We're playing high level basketball. So a lot of young kids were watching these games of my son's playing and his friend and Chris and Trey and all them playing. And they were in awe because of the speed, the strength, and the skill level of the team they were playing. And they're like, I've never seen anything so fast. Right. So it was like the passes were so crisp, getting down the court, guys grabbing the ball just out of the air, just one pass and go, because it's a different level at that point. And if you watch that and you're a parent that's mad at your third grade coach because your kid on your playing time, like, your kid has to start, if you really want to stick with it, this is the end goal.
Right.
This is the end goal. And right now, your kid has no interest in being there. So is this your dream or is this the kid's dream? Because I saw some stuff. I was in awe. Right. I'm sitting there because kids, and we'll talk about that another day. Kids are athletic as hell. Yeah. I'm telling you, like nowadays, I'm seeing stuff. They're East Bay dunking in games. Like, boom, like a layup. I'm like, that never happened. Right. We were like, so you want to talk about being ready? Those kids are ready. And I bet if you ask them, hey, do you miss practice? The top level teams, no. Do you come to extra training? Yes. Yeah. Do you take care of your body? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Do you listen to your coach? Yes. Do you do stuff outside of practice? Yes. Yeah. And that's what we're saying is like, it takes a lot to get to that level. Not saying you can't, but that's why the percentages are lower each level you go up.
Well, okay, now let's add another layer to it before I change gears again. So let's take that level that you're talking about, and now let's put them in Drew League, in the Drew League.
Yep.
And those kids are going to be like,
right, that's another level up.
Yeah, that's another level up. And so, we're talking about different levels and tiers to this kind of thing. And so, and it's being realistic about where your kid is and what their work ethic is. Now, speaking of the kid's work ethic, what do you do with the kid? And my son's in this category a little bit. They say they want to do it. Their actions don't always tell it. But they're also, because one of the things we talk about is growing into your frame.
Right.
And you've seen my son.
Right.
He's tall for his age.
Right.
But we also have a lot of kids that are in that mode where they say they want to do it. The motivation isn't always there.
Right.
As a parent, what do you do? to reinforce that?
Well, that's a good question. And that's where I think what you're doing, like what you're saying is, at some point you have to, if they're kind of on the fence, I think it's okay for you as a parent to be, like, hey man, let's try it.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna get up and we're gonna try something we're gonna try something for a month.
Right.
I'm gonna give you a month. And it's still okay. Okay, let's do another month and see. And let's do another month and see. And now what we're doing is we're growing a little bit more confidence.
Uh-huh.
You get a little bit more skill up. And now you're sitting at 3 months. And now this kid kind of likes it. And now 6 months, they really like it. In a year, I'm okay with it. Not saying that all these kids got to be NBA players. And that's where we got to slow down.
Right.
Like, got to slow down as coaches, parents, and slow down. Your kid just wants to get on the court right now.
Right.
Cool. And be a part of a team. Cool. Now, comes back the next day and says, I want to be part of a select team that travel. Okay, we'll prepare for that. Because now you've told me that you want to do that, There. He didn't say nothing about the NBA.
Right.
He didn't say nothing about the G League. He didn't say nothing about going overseas. He wants to make a 7th grade team.
Right.
That's all they said right there. And I think as parents, we have to slow down, even with, I have 3. My top one, he'll play college ball. He's, college ball, he's already there. He's done that. He's a junior in high school. He'll be there, okay? I mean, keep working hard, boy. You're there. My daughter can play. She likes the sport. I have to, she likes to work at it. And skills a little bit behind. I guess medical stuff a little bit behind there. But I'm not going to tell her anything about, you can't make the WNBA All-Star because she didn't ask about that.
Right. She
just asked about, I want to be good on my team right now.
Right.
So my conversations and training are like, we're focused on it right now.
Right.
And I don't coach her all the time. I let other people train her because I'm dad.
Right.
I'm dad. And she doesn't get it. Now, my niece will listen to me because I'm uncle. You know what I do? And so Braylon will listen to me because she's like, okay, that's new to me because basketball. She'll listen to you about weights and stuff like that too, but basketball is there. Yeah. Every kid's different, but she's never ever said again, I want to talk about beyond 7th grade and beyond. No, we're talking about right now. Right now. So you have to very just talk to your kid. And we'll say that a lot, but it is a big thing. And also talk to your coach. If your kid is going to a constant training, ask them what they're learning.
Right.
Ask them what they're learning. Like, you can't drop off and not go in and talk to the person for 6 months and be mad when the kid doesn't develop. You're like, right. Well, I dropped them off. I was hoping something magical would happen. This ain't Harry Potter, bro. Right. Like, this ain't no magic. It's like, I've been trying to make a meeting with you, and we try to do it all the time. I've been trying to talk to you about him over here staring at the wall and tickling the other people in there. Yeah. Oh, well, this is because he might be bored. No, he doesn't want to listen. Right. This isn't his dream. And you never asked him that, and that's what we want to make sure. Talk. There's a network of people talk.
So I wanted to ask you specifically about this one because my son doesn't fall into this category yet. Okay. But when I say this, I think you're going to pick up what I'm saying. You do with the puppy with big paws. Because we got a couple of puppies that have big paws. Right. What do you do? How do you develop them where you're looking at them like this might be one of them kids that if they pour enough into them, somebody might be talking about there's a possibility on the outside fringes of generational. Right. And so what do you do with that where you look at this kid like, once that growth spurt hits, it's going to be curtains for the world. Right. This is going to sound bad, parents. Stay out of the development for 1 second and take a deep breath. If you have that kid, let them be coached. Let them be trained. Step out for a little bit. You can sit, work on your computer. You can sit and do other stuff, but don't be the one. If you don't know, and they already kind of the fence, don't be at the training. Hey, man, shoot the ball. Hey, man, just go to the basket. Yeah. Hey, man, pass. Man, it's you one-on-one, bro. I hear it all the time at AAU. Like, that might not be what they're doing. That might not be in them whatsoever. But if you let them be coached, you let them be trained. If you trust, listen, you're paying for training. Hey, man, let them see what they can do. Right. See what they can do. Now, if it's
The kid absolutely hates it. He's crying in the car. He's a 6'5" kid crying and laying on the ground and kicking his feet. Yeah, that's a problem. You may not want to bring him back in there. But if he's like, I'm having fun, I'm getting better, I can dribble, and I do, hands off for a second.
Right.
And all you can do at this point is support. And that's when you ask the coach, what can I do? You have a driveway? Yeah. Have him dribble with his left hand 30 minutes a day.
Right.
Well, why the left hand? Because he's only really wanting to go to his right hand. So the first week, go 30 minutes right. That's all I need you to do. That's supporting.
And that's the thing. We talk about 6'5". So the kid hits a growth spurt where they grow 5 inches in a couple of months.
Right.
Well, what happens is a kid still has to learn how to control those extra 5 inches of height growing. And so there's element of it where they're going through an awkward kind of not really understanding limb control and body control in space because they were used to being at one height. Now they're all of a sudden a different height. And so it is understanding and, really keeping it simple and focused on the things and bringing in an expert from the outside.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I always tell people, and we even do this personally, at some point you have to get out of your feelings. And what I mean by that, there's different levels of that. Like you might, and a lot of dads do this, the kid develops late or probably should have did something earlier, and you see he's really responding to his coach or really responding to the trainer. And now you're in your feelings a little bit and you're like, well, I'm gonna do my own training at the house too. Okay, there, warning for that is they've gotten this far.
Right.
How about you talk to the trainer and make sure that's okay? Like, I love when parents help, but also very thrown back when a kid comes back and a shot changed, or he's doing something I didn't teach him. I teach him, like, what happened? Well, my dad said I can shoot threes anytime I want to in a game. You're not strong enough. Your base, I can watch you shoot 20 threes and you'd airball 10. And that's not being mean. You just don't have the leg strength and power right now to do that, Right. But my dad was a 3-point shooter. You are in 6th grade. You're developing. So you got to kind of get out of your feelings for a second. And also realize not everybody's out to get your player. I've had this conversation more than anything. Speaking of that, more than anything, why is my kid on this level team? Okay. You want to know why? Myself and the coaches feel that they need to develop and go into the games and have a chance to compete. Right. And, I don't want them overwhelmed. Well, he's the tallest kid. And at the YMCA, he scored 20 points and blah, 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 blah. No knock on the YMCA. We're playing select basketball. Yeah. None of these kids, they're past that, okay? And you can trap, you can press, you can take the ball out of your hand. It's a completely different game. So that is great what he did. I'm so proud of him. I'm going to give him but that was 2 years ago. Right. And now he's our tallest kid. He's one of our strongest kids. But I do, and if I can teach him a jump hook, if I can teach him to rip through and go to the basket, and now he's throwing 4 to 6 points even before, we're going to do that. And it's not about that. And get out of the coach's email and their text message and their messenger about playing time when they are getting it or they're developing into getting more. Right. Get out of their email. It's okay. You got to get out of your feelings. Like, and if you can't, my whole thing is like, I'm always looking for coaches. Right. So if you got something that we don't know or you see someone who know, sweet, come on up and help us coach.
Well, the thing is like, all right, so they're 6'5" or whatnot. By all means, go out to a major city. You can go to Hollywood Fitness. You can go out to Lifetime Fitness. You might, if they have an NBA game and NBA team in town, you might find some of those players playing a pickup. Take him down there. Right. And see if he gets picked up. You don't want to take, here's the thing. If you've been trained to swim in 3 feet and master 3 feet, are you going to go to 4 feet or are you going to go to 10 feet? Right. I think the progression is 3 and then 4 feet. Yep. Now our kids can jump in and make that leap. Right. Like make that leap, right? It doesn't happen that way. We got a couple of girls that can play up. Yep. And they do play up, 4th, 5th grade, playing on our middle school girls team. Yep. The decision was made that these girls can actually play at that level. Yep. If they can't play at that level, There's no way we're going to take a fourth grader and throw her on a court with a bunch of eighth graders. It just doesn't. It's counterproductive, and it can break somebody's confidence and spirit. And so just because the kid is tall, he or she, or just because they can dominate at the Y League, doesn't mean that invariably we're going to take them and drop them into the deep water.
Right.
Sometimes we have kids, we're like, they're on the fringes.
Right.
Let's test them out. So the way we have it broken down is orange is kind of our developmental teams. Black are still developmental, but they're a higher level developmental squad. And the team we're going to announce is going to be the game changer. So stay tuned for that. And then we're going to take a pause for the cause after this because we've been going for a while.
Right.
But we may take a kid on the orange team and try them out on the black team and see what they do.
Right.
It's not water that's completely over their head yet. It's where they can put their toes on the floor and still have their head above water.
Right.
But we're going to see where they're at. And if they respond well to it, then they can probably stay up there. If they don't, we got some more work to do. But we're not going to take, I just joined the orange team and throw them on the black team just because they're tall. Right. Because that can be completely counterproductive. You know, you end up getting embarrassed by some kid that's half your size. Right. You know, that's not a good feeling. And so it's really understanding and trusting the coaches to make the right decisions. Right. And it's not motivated by who's paying more and all the other stuff. And the way our academy is structured, everybody's paying pretty much the same anyway. Right. We're making determinations based on what we think, we're making determinations based on what we think is a natural progression and development for the kids.
Say that again. That's magic right there, man. That's magic right there. Like, we're not, like, we don't take it personal, and we don't have, every coach has, let me bring it back. Every coach has their favorite players. Yeah. And it's not because they're related to them or it should be. If that kid works hard, that kid comes to do everything, they're coachable, they're doing everything too. They may not be the highest skilled player, but you might be my favorite player because you do all that stuff, and I can trust you in the fourth quarter to make the right pass. Right. Or, to not get a technical foul. Right. I've seen games lost on behavior. Right. Behavior and a foul. So we do. So it's not about, favoritism. It's not about that. Like, we want your kid to be successful. That's why, and it's not just me. It's you make decisions, it's the other coaches, and it's like, now, do you think your kid can handle a press break? We've never seen one. So you want to be on this team where every game that you handle press breaks, and you want me to throw them in there today. Right. I said, you want to talk about a kid that's going to walk out and quit today? Do that. Do that. We don't do that. And you get a lot of old heads. We used to just walk in, again, lying. Yeah. We used to walk in the park, and we used to throw everybody in there, and I was 5'1" point guard. I came out the first time, went down to Benson Park and scored 50 points with my left hand, and it was in the rain. It was great. Like, nobody was there, and you're lying.
We've had kids out of their depth quit in the middle of games, like literally quit, like take jersey off and done, because it's not fun for them to get out there and have it. We've actually gone to tournament officials and complained because they put one of our girls' teams, very first game together. They put them in a bracket that they had no business being in after we told them exact level that the girls need to be in, and it was brutal. That first game. They were playing a team that they had absolutely no business playing whatsoever. And it wasn't fun for them. Girls were crying like they were mad. Some didn't even want to come back that next day, but they did, and they pulled it together and managed to notch out a win or two. But dropping the kid into deep water is like, if you are an accomplished bear fighter, like you're an accomplished bear wrestler, you go out and professionally wrestle bears into submission. There's an arc that you take to get to that level. Right. You're not going to take your 2-year-old and be like, all right, boy, go make it happen. What? Go fight that grizzly bear now. And I trust you. You're going to magically have the skills, knowledge, and strength and abilities to survive this. So go out there and do it now. You can't do that to kids in terms of development.
It's levels, man. Yeah. There's levels to all this. There's levels to basketball, baseball, soccer. There's a reason why in baseball you see these guys with these $150 million contracts. These guys, hit a ball, blah, blah. Have you ever seen a live baseball game and how fast the ball comes? Like, I ain't hit that.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Like, you can hit that consistently. Yeah, you need to get money. You need to get money.
Too many of us have been, as children, were taken to the pool and dropped in the deep end by a parent. And that's how we learned how to swim.
Yep.
And that's not exactly learning how to swim. That's attempted drowning.
Yep.
Too many of us have experienced that. And we reinforce that on our kids by thinking, well, you can just keep dropping them in the deep end. At some point, you're going to have to fish them out.
Right.
And actually teach them the skills to survive in the deep end. So we're going to take a quick pause for the cause, and then we're going to be back to talk about what we have coming up. And we're back. So we haven't done this in a while, so we had a lot of information in the first segment. Second segment, we're going to keep it moving. So what we have coming up for Coach Mo's Basketball Academy, I'll list it, and then we'll go into explanations of it. First things first, on June 22nd, we have our next basketball or dribbling camp. We're calling it Dribble Drive Camp because we're going to be teaching not only just the dribbling piece, but we're going to teach how to attack the rim. Realistically, it's part 1 of 2. We're still working out the specifics of 2. We're trying to get a guest who's helped us out before in town for it. And so if you've attended the first one, you know who this guest is. But if not, we're working on, do you want to announce who it is that we're working on? We're trying to coordinate schedules.
My man, Big John Q, Matt John Hansberry out of Florida. We're just pretty much getting ready to settle on a place and time, but he's coming to kick us off right before school starts.
Yep. And so the part 2 is going to occur in August. First part's going to occur in June. And this June one is going to have a learn to dribble camp. So this is going to be for kids that have no idea how to dribble, or people that, kids that are 1 or 2 years in, but still need to work on some of the finer, manage their dribble, learn how to keep their head up and stuff like that. And so the first section is going to be learn to dribble. Next section is going to be more intermediate and advanced. Intermediate is going to be kids at what level would you say intermediate?
I said they play a little bit, need a little bit of flair. And I remember flair is like going to right to left smoothly, going left to right smoothly, getting out of a track, just a little bit more. Instead of the 1950 one dribble back yourself to the basket, you need a little bit more.
And then advanced is going to be, more progression. Yep. It's going to be, you have a good firm handle on the basketball. You can control it. You can dribble yourself out of trouble without turning it over and things like that. What else for advanced?
Yeah, you're getting combo dribbles, if you're dribbling more than once or twice, it's leading into the next move, not like standing here dribbling for 80 dribbles. It's 1, 2, 3, and what's the next move? Right. Score. 1, 2, 3, drive. What's the next move? Pass. It's the next level. How do I level up? How do I look good in front of my coach next year? My middle school coach who is going to pick 10 boys for this team, 10 girls for this team, and there's 70 people in the gym. How do I separate myself?
Well, and then you want the dribble that makes the crowd go, ooh, that's kind of where we're at with the advanced level. So if that's what you're trying to build on, that's what we're working on. So those are the levels that we're going to be dealing with in Camp 1. Like I said, it's going to be teaching how to dribble and attack, dribble and pass, and things along those lines. And so how to put things together. We think it's a fantastic value. June 22nd is what we got. It's already out on social media if you want to sign up for it. Probably be taking this segment specifically and, making it kind of an explainer, breaking it off and making that its own standalone video to talk about it. But you get $150 credit to our small group training that we're putting together. Small group training is really just our basketball academy, but it's with one coach and a few players. Sure. And so it's a lot more individualized attention. It's higher skills ceiling. It's basketball academy that's made to make you level up quickly. So it's going to be a lot of individual attention and things like that. And so it's a service that we're looking forward to rolling out. You get $150 credit off the first month. And so, we'll be sending out details of what it looks like to sign up for that after we get the camp rolling. But Dribble Drive Camp, we're excited about it. It's going to be a 2-parter. So everything we work on in the first part, we're going to be following up in the second part. And if you've seen the footage of what the camp we had in 2022 was like with John,
right,
you're getting a sense of the kind of skills that he's bringing to the table and what his expectation is for that advanced group. So, get in, learn a couple of things here so that you have something to take to part 2. And our back to school camp is going to be amazing. We're working out the dates and we're getting all that stuff set up, but I can't stress enough, sign up for this camp. We're going to be limited spaces available. So hop on the portal. I'll leave the link in the show notes, but if you see it on social media, you need to sign up for it. 2, I think we said enough about Dribble Drive Camp. Is there any more?
Yeah. Right. Sign up. I know a lot of people will get there and they'll, the day of, and let's show up. No, you have to sign up.
We're not taking cash at the door. There's no cash at the door.
It's a great camp. We're proving ourselves.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's not it's not try it out. We've done these plenty of times, and lots of kids learn to dribble from us. And here's the other part. This is the last part. You're going to take stuff that you can actually do at home.
Yep.
We're going to give you drills and things that you can actually do at home in the driveway or at home with racket balls. We talked about the racket ball thing, or tennis balls. There are going to be things that you can work on at home to level up and work on your dribble. So we're going to try to leave you with drills that you can actually leave with. Okay. So sign up today. Don't hesitate. It's going to run out of space, and I know it is.
Yep.
So next one is we want to make it a big announcement for our new team. We're putting together how you titling it, Coach? How you naming it?
We're going to put together an elite middle school team, and it's going to be 7th graders going into 8th. They're 7th now, and they're going into 8th. That's going to be our first team, and that team is going to get a lot. And the reason we use elite with that team is they're going to be elite after everything we put them through. These are the players that I love basketball. I've been playing it for a long time. I play at high levels. I love the bright lights. I love the work. I love coming to practice. I want to get better. So they're going to be multiple days of speed agility, multiple days. They have to attend our academy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They have to do the academy to do skill work. They're going to have their own practice. They're going to do strength training. We'll talk about nutrition. We're making sure these kids are just good citizens, good around school. They are ready. This is going to look, they're going to be walking into high school next year. After doing that next year, walking into these schools, and they're going to stand out immediately. And because they are doing what it takes to get to that next level now.
And it's fundamentally different because normally our travel teams are summer teams.
Yep.
And so we travel in the summer. And that's when a lot of our U teams. If you know how we normally structure it, we have our traveling teams and our local teams.
Yep.
And that normally breaks down to black and orange. This is our year-round traveling team. This is the team that goes out actively and seeks to smoke year-round.
Yep.
And so we're going to be in all the big tournaments or whatnot.
So we'll play tournaments, and we're going to play league play. So that's tournaments and league play. Now, I'll make this very clear. We're your main team. If you're going to be on this team, we're your main team. We are A-okay with school teams. Schools are done at 4 o'clock. I mean, this has nothing to do with what we do. Okay, what we do. So don't get, I can't play because I'm playing for my school. Well, you practice at 3 o'clock. That's nothing to do with us. Go play for your school. Everyone plays for their school. We got that. That's fine. If you have a feeder team, listen, a feeder team, and that's you. We will work with you. You got to know some schools do require that. I'm not going to be that coach who's like, no, you better not. But if it's not a required thing, you need to be at our practice and is there because we're going to level you up. You're playing from anything beyond that. You can talk to us about it, but we're not going to 3-14. It's not going to work. It's not going to work because we're not going to schedule around anything, especially when we're investing a lot of time and resources in these kids. Not fair for 9 kids to be doing one thing and the 10th kid gets to do whatever they want. It's got to be structured really well.
So here's the breakdown of it, because I'm getting into the brass tacks of it for the first season.
Yep.
The way we have our academy structured is you could either pay weekly, $50 a week. It's not per session, it's per week. So you could either pay that, you could pay monthly, which is about $150 a month.
Yep.
You get a lot for the $150 a month because most development programs will charge you by the hour.
Yep.
We're charging you by the month.
Yeah, if you show up to stuff, because look at that one person that's gonna like, what? And like, you show up, you'll have no questions.
Yeah.
You have no questions.
On average, in the average month, we have how many academy sessions? What?
Oh man,
we're doing them twice a week now.
So
8. So those are about 90 minutes a piece. So 8 times 90, it's like 170 minutes a week, which is way more than an hour. And if we broke that down by hours, it's a pretty competitive thing. Now it's going to stay there, but right now it's about $150.
Yep.
For the team option, we're talking about $250. Now, it gives you all the training and all the development, all the team fees and all that other stuff. And so if we bring you onto that elite team, that's what the price point is.
All right. There's going to be a weekly option and it'll be a monthly option.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. That's what it is.
And the reason why we're doing it, why we're saying it's a monthly option, it just makes it simple and it makes the investment simple and it allows, us to assess on a month-to-month basis where a kid is at, because we're expecting this to be a high commitment team, but we know things come up in life. And so we rather have the monthly thing where you assess on a month-to-month basis. And, there's going to be things where sometimes somebody acts up at school or acts a fool in practice. I've had it where kids act a fool in tournaments or whatnot, and they get demoted to one of the teams. And so, we want to build it in there so that we have the option to kind of say, all right, fine. You're at this price point, we'll drop you down to regular, not even, if you don't want to play anymore, then we'll drop you to regular academy, keep training.
Right.
But if you want to stay on the teams, this is what the team's thing's going to look like. And to be honest with you, I'm being transparent with y'all. This is probably what our team option is going to look like next year, because I want y'all to understand that everything centers around academy.
Right.
And that's what we've been working towards, because to be honest with you, the kids that are active in academy have our best outcomes.
I watched 3 weeks of AAU basketball, and I'm seeing like a lot of our kids that are on top level teams, not just on them starting, and not just starting, contributing, ranked in the state. Like, these are kids that went through our same academy.
Right.
So like, I'm not going to sit and argue. I'm pretty, I'm more of a comedian, kind of like lay back serious when I train, but I'm also not going to have you go through my whole, the results are there. You can just go ask a player, you can go to Google.
Right.
Or you can come to academy and sit and watch.
Right.
And that's what you do, or sign up
see
and
the
watch.
kind of work we're doing. And the reason why we're pushing academy so hard is because that's the foundation of all of our best teams.
So you got to have skill work.
The kids that attend academy consistently, the teams that have a bunch of kids that are attend academy sessions regularly are having the best outcomes. And so that's why we're pushing it. That's why we push it so hard. And so moving forward, all our teams go through academy.
Yep.
And this is just an extension of it. So when I'm saying all that to say this, the team option is just an extension of basketball academy, because it all is based on basketball academy. So you get your regular basketball academy, plus you get uniforms and practice times and coaches. It takes care of everything. So you don't have to worry about it. The only consideration you're going to have as a parent is possibly travel.
Yep.
And we'll sort that piece out when we get to it, because we're working on some bigger sponsorships because of the higher profile team, and kind of figure out what this piece looks like. But if you get selected to this team, understand that we're going to be playing all year round.
Yeah.
And that's the expectation. And we're not saying that you have to be exclusive to basketball. We're not saying that you have to be, you can only be one sport. But if you're on this team, because we push, and I'm about to contradict myself. Now, I'm getting coach's opinion on this because I'm making it up on the fly. If you're on this team, this is a commitment to you want to play basketball.
Oh, yeah.
If you're on the orange or black team, we have soccer players, football players, baseball players, and all other stuff. And these are the multi-sport athletes.
Yeah. And basketball might be their favorite, but right now they're doing, which we
fully support.
We support that.
We fully support. We've had some of our best teams are comprised of mostly soccer players.
Yep.
And so, we don't have a problem with them. We want you to play multiple sports. But if you sign up for this team, we're kind of have an expectation like, okay, while you're with us, this has to be your basketball has to be your primary focus while you're with this specific team. Now, I'm not saying track season, you can't run track.
Right.
We'll tailor our schedule to accommodate that kind of stuff. But this is a commitment to, I want to play basketball at a high level.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Yep. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Where we're not saying you have to be 100% all in, but it's still a commitment to want to play basketball. We have other teams that have a little bit more flexibility and variability where, you can play baseball and football and whatever, or wrestle and do the other things and still have this on your plate. We have enough kids there so that if somebody misses a tournament, we can say, they have softball tournament or baseball tournament here, and they're not able we'll just pull somebody from another team. This team is a real actual rock solid commitment, and we'll adjust it per season. So if we know we're going into football season, we play year round.
Right.
We're aware of that.
Yeah, we're not going to have heavy games in October if we have football season.
But we're still going to have games.
In November, you got to know that we are going to have a heavy schedule.
Yeah, when it's basketball season, we're going to play, but we're still going to travel year round. I hope we're not contradicting ourselves too much. I hope you're understanding what we're saying. If you have any questions about other sports or whatnot, and you get selected for this team, talk to coach.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Don't talk amongst yourselves or other parents. They're probably doing something different.
Right.
They're different, or they have a different situation. Talk to us directly.
And let's be real. Let's be honest here. This is going to be a hyper-competitive team because we're going to take 10 with 2 reserves, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be 10 with 2 reserves.
Yeah.
The competition for this is going to be internal. It's going to be high. And we have you may run into a parent that will lead you astray because they see opportunity for their kid.
Thank you for saying that. We're not doing this. We're not going to that training. We're not going to that camp.
Meanwhile, they're on all the trainings and all the camps. Because for us, it's not a big deal. But for y'all, for the parents and stuff, there's a level of competition. We see us all as one big unit that works together.
Right.
But there's an internal competition and whatnot. So
that's life, man. I seen it at AAU level. I seen it where, I'm going to go to the gym. Or I'm not. And then the kid's there. Yeah. Well, I'm not working with a trainer. You look on Instagram, they work with a trainer. Like, this is competition, man.
So don't listen to other parents is what we're saying. Talk to coach if you have any questions about whether this team is the right fit for your kid, and talk directly to them if you get chosen. We're going to be having a tryout here, what will we say?
Probably about the next week or two.
We're going to be doing a tryout here pretty soon to fill in the gaps. If your kid is on one of our teams and we've kind of underlined their name or put a parentheses around their name, we're going to be talking to you directly and just floating the idea out there. But again, it's a commitment. Talk to coach. That's what the elite team is. And I'm be honest with you. Here's the thing. And this is something we discussed internally, but I'm going to let it out. This elite team is going to determine a lot of things. Their uniforms are going to be the CMA standard uniforms, except the elite team are going to have like a badge or something that that signifies they're on that team. They're going to determine what uniforms we're going to wear. They're going to be the blueprint for other high-level, year-round traveling teams. And so there's going to be a lot that goes into this. When we say a lot going into it, because this is the team. Now, for the young men that are going to be on this first elite team, this is not a license to be buttholes in practice. Matter of fact, the expectations of behavior for you are higher. When you're in an academy, the expectation is you're helping out kids that aren't as experienced as you. You are going to be called on to lead drills. You're going to be called on to actually step up and be actual leaders and supportive of things. Tickling each other and playing around and wrestling around and all other stuff. You're going to feel like the whole building just fell on top of you if you get called out for it.
Yep.
Because if you're on these teams, the expectation is that much higher for behavior, because we have to be able to take you out on the road as our ambassadors for our program.
Right.
And show the world what you've accomplished.
Yep.
So the profile's high. Don't get gassed up.
Yep.
Because the worst thing in the world is, all right, well, so that was a disaster. You cut up. Here's your regular jersey.
Right.
You still got to do all the practices and obligations of the elite team, but you're going to be playing with the black team for a while.
Right.
And we have we have the reserve that we had they're going to fill in for you. And you got to earn your way back on.
It has to be that way. We're trying to get these kids ready for the next level. And I hope a parent or a guardian would appreciate what we're doing with this team and all of our teams, putting you in the right level to get yourself better. Like you can be a beginner and like Brian said, you can work your way up and pass any of these people. So it's like, we want it to be like that. There is no, you're stuck on this team. There's nothing you can do. Like, no, this is not a guarantee you will stay on that team if you stop working.
Right. And your behavior has to align with it. Here's what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say. Imagine this as the varsity team.
Yep. And
we're going to simulate what it's like being on a varsity team at a high-level program. Not a varsity team where they ain't winning nothing. We're talking about a high-level varsity program where the coach has plenty of options and everybody's on that team has earned their spot.
Right.
That's what this is going to be. So, for the players, if you make it, congratulations.
Now it's time to work.
Now it's time to get work and it's time to focus. So this is the incentive. If you want to learn what it's like to be a varsity player and feel like the entire varsity thing feels like, and your goal is to be on your varsity high school team, you're going to get a taste of that experience and the expectations that come along with it. Yeah, there's going to be outliers. We ain't going to have those outliers. We're not going to have them super talented, uber talented outliers who are absolute disaster and train wreck in every other aspect of their life in terms of managing themselves. It's
not doing it.
It's not going to happen. So this is what this team is. We're going to be launching it here. We're going to be reaching out. Spaces are super limited. If you get a call, that means that we see the behaviors and we see the skills in your kid to be on that squad.
Yep.
And this is going to be the first of a couple of other teams that we have at different age levels. Because we got some third graders.
Yeah, team loaded.
Third graders, boy, those
team loaded.
Our sixth graders.
Yep.
Our sixth graders. Man, it's gonna be, and so we're looking at duplicating this, but this is the pilot team, and you got to be on point with this one.
Yep.
So we're gonna have fun. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna.
Yep.
So that's what we have for that team. Anything else we want to include with that?
No, I think just again, if you want to do anything, any camp or anything like that, to sign up and get ready to go. Right there, we will answer the questions, but the longer you think and ask a bunch of questions, you're just be ready to go. So when it's the date is there, be ready to go. Have your kid ready to go. Start talking to them now. Have them ready.
Right. And for our current players, if you notice a shift in tone, man, we serious now.
Yep.
And so some of the expectations that we have for the elite team are going to start trickling into other aspects of life at academy and life at speed and agility. So just be prepared for it.
Yep.
We've done a great job in terms of positioning ourselves. I'll be honest and pat us on the back.
Yep.
We've done a great job to let the world know we're not a babysitting service for wayward teenagers.
Nope.
We are a training business, and we're in the business of training. And if you're not about the business, if you're not in the business of getting better, we might not be the right fit for you.
Right.
So be aware of that. We still got our speed and agility sessions going on. We're going to be shifting some things around. We have some different looking hours for our summer schedule to kind of accommodate.
We got back to Saturday, Sunday, so off the road, Saturday, Sunday. We have Tuesday nights. I have some special college things during the day, and that's completely like invite only, like the college stuff. But you can call us and we can get you in those, but we have some of our top level guys that are in that. But we'll add some hours in there. And then we're setting up the small group training. So, the first few people that sign up for those, we'll start those on Saturdays. So.
And if you inquire about, two things. If you inquire about the workouts with the college guys, you need to be ready to go. That's one that you have to really take a self-inventory, and they will push you. What about open gyms and stuff like that?
So open gyms we're going to be running on Sundays, and so they're going to be, there's two. So open gym, we have a high school, college open gym, so that'll be for, invite our CMA kids obviously can come to those. And we've actually had some inquiries from 7th and 8th graders that we've actually had come that can come to those as well. And I think they do one at 6 o'clock too. That Coach Joel will run that one. But if you want to try that, you're in 8th grade going to 9th, or you want to fill it, we've had about 4 or 5 kids come into those. So, and those will be at Bellevue East on Sundays at, I have 7. I think it was 7 to 9. I think, yeah. As much as we love giving back, but then we do a lot. And so I don't want anyone ever tell we don't do a lot. Yeah. It's a business, and we got to make sure that our coaches are paid. So our coaches are paid. Our rentals are, we pay for rentals. We do a lot of stuff. Our tournaments are paid. League fees are paid. So we have to charge.
Included in your service.
Include your service, yeah.
As opposed to being a standalone service, because we're kind of at the threshold where we got to start considering making it a standalone service. So take advantage of it while it's still included in your service package. If you are a member of Academy or Speed and Agility, because it's going to switch up here moving forward here pretty soon, because it's got to be a standalone service at some point in time.
Right.
But it's an opportunity for you to get some run with some more experienced players. So that's what I got. I know this episode ran long, but we had a lot of information to unload on y'all. Again, Dribble Drive Camp's coming up. Please sign up. We're going to run out of space pretty soon. And it's part 1 of 2. We're still putting together part 2. We're pushing hard to get JQ up in here. He's working hard.
Yeah.
He's props to him. He's moving his schedule around so that we can get back for a back to school session with him. But this part 1 is going to be laying the foundation for what you do in part 2.
Yep.
If you're learning how to dribble, please come out, because I think that's probably going to be our biggest group. Historically, it's been our biggest group.
Yep.
Bring the kids out so they can learn the basics of dribbling and basketball.
Yep.
We still got our basketball academy. If you're a parent working with us, or if you think you got a 7th grade that's ready to play at a high level, we're going to be announcing our tryouts. So please show up for that and sign up for services. All teams, I'm making this announcement. You must be in services with us to remain on the team.
Yep.
You got to be in services with us. And in services with us means that you've taken care of your team fees, or you're on a monthly payment plan or a weekly payment plan. Whatever it is, you're on a payment plan with us. If you're not on a payment plan with us, you'll probably be hearing from your coach.
Right.
But let's make sure that's squared away.
Yep.
But the elite team is going to be a game changer. And then ongoing speed and agility sessions, like Coach said earlier, they're for all players of all sports. It's not specific to basketball. This is how to land.
Yep.
This is how to run.
Right.
This is how to reduce your injury while moving. This is what this training is. It's not a bunch of videos from YouTube where you're just jumping on the box, jumping off the box, jumping on the box, jumping off. These are actually structured workouts. And so if you want to participate and you want to get better in the off season and get better with your mobility, we can.
Right.
Coach is also, even Coach works with some older ladies at the retirement home to get them moving.
Yeah. And they're consistent.
They're consistent. So if that's a service you guys are interested in, somebody needs to send us something and let us know so that we can get that rolling. With the podcast, specifically for the program, we're going to get more consistent with recording this. We need sponsors. If you want an opportunity, because we got a good audience, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If you want to get your business out here and have us talk about your business, we need to sit down and have a talk about what it looks like. And
I made a post about that while we were doing it. I made a post about sending us a message. Send it now. Send us a message. Let us know.
We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for team sponsors. We're looking for podcast sponsors. We got a couple in mind that we're going to be shouting out on the next episode. We'll be shouting out our list of sponsors on our page. Matter of fact, why don't I do that
Let's
now?
do that now. Yep.
So I'm pulling it up, Coach Mo. So the sponsors we have, and we're just giving a shout out off the top of the dome, right? First of all, big shout out to T's Auto and Truck Sales, LLC.
Yeah, turn up. I got 2 vehicles from them, and I'm talking about great deal. Great. Brian's a great guy, man. Shout out to Joel that's over there. Got a car for my son and a car for the family. And I know I've referred a lot of people over there. They're great support.
All right. Number one source of buying pre-owned vehicles in the region. Deed and Metal. Awesome. Hooked us up with some very flavorful hoodies and whatnot.
Yep.
And been doing some great work for us behind the scenes.
Appreciate that.
Anding Family Dental.
Yep. It's my family. My family there. Like, just great. Ada Chang is awesome. She works with a lot of people and has done a great job. Has been doing it a long time. It's just a great atmosphere when you go in there too. You don't feel like you're in the dungeon. You're there to get help.
All right. ATI Physical Therapy.
Oh man, they did a great job with a lot of our athletes. With my own son, Jay, getting him back on the mend with some knee issues. Shout out to Miss Tiffany Crutchers, who's out in South Carolina, who is doing big things for them, and she's in town, I think, one more weekend. She really helped us out this last summer during the year with them, too.
All right, Solutions Heating and Air. Big shout out to Chris and Sally. Came through, we had a loss in the family, and you guys were amazing. Brandy was able to call you, and you guys came out and pretty much saved the family from spending an exorbitant amount from one of the big box places, and just always there when we need you, the fairest price you're going to imagine. And we'll condense the nonsense and tell you whether you actually need a full replacement or if it can be fixed. That level of honesty is a breath of fresh air. You don't have to worry about somebody trying to get over on you. And so, Solutions Heating and Air is our go-to. That's everything. Anything related to heating and air and keeping our house comfortable, both Mo and I can vouch for them and the kind of work that they do.
Yep.
All right. Iris Lobo, we love training your kids, and you've been great for us. Iris is a realtor, bilingual, and, just really good, invested in getting the right home for you. Yep. And so these are the shout outs. Do we miss anybody? I'm thinking.
I think that's it for this year.
All right. That we would love to shout out on here that we've worked with, but to be a sponsor, to be shout out on the show, we have to maintain that, be a sponsor. So,
right. Yep.
But we're excited for new sponsors and new growth and new opportunities. So, and consistent sponsorship of the show allows us to continue to develop the program and add more bells and whistles to it and be more consistent with recording it. So, and plus you get distribution to all our audience or whatnot on all of our social media platforms. It's a marketing investment for you. Marketing with podcasts is one of the new ways to grow. It's like a radio ad, except it doesn't cost as much.
Right.
And you get kind of the same amount of distribution and listen. So that's what we got. Again, I don't really have anything else.
No, man, just sign up. The last thing I'll say, you guys, the AAU guys, take care of your bodies. May and April was a lot of games. So you guys are playing high-level AAU ball. Do what you're supposed to do for your school. Show up to the workouts. Do what they do. Do not get this arrogance that, I'm going to be starting for my school. It's respect to your coach. You need to show up. Do what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, your coaches could be speaking to a college for you. And If you don't show up, that's disrespectful. Come back in July, a different player. Come back stronger, come back faster, come back as a better overall teammate. Take care of your bodies, eat right. Go get those offers. And parents and kids, do what you can to make let your kid be the best that they can be. Put them in the best position to be the best player they can be. No one can tell you any different.
All right. So that's all we got. We'll be probably cutting this up and dropping this episode here pretty quick. And then we'll start planning our next one.
All right.
All right. Again, this is Brian.
Coach Mo.
Thanks for tuning in. I almost did the other sign off for the podcast. This is Brian and Coach Mo. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Peace.
Peace.